One of the trustees with me is Dr. Njagi Jomo. Dr. Shilabuka sent an apology. He was out of town. So at this point in time, I'm going to present our trustees' reports. Our report reflects the year that we are in. It gives an overview of the issues that have been dealt with and those which still require the attention of our executive. So to all of us, we know that WASU remains the foremost champion of members' welfare, including matters that may look like they are outside the mandate of WASU. Sometimes it's not easy to separate what is welfare within the university and even in some cases that which is social to an individual faculty. The period under review, that is the year 2023, has had a lot of issues affecting our members directly and indirectly, ranging from change of council membership to stalling of the internal CBA 2017-2021 negotiations, among others. However, there have also been some successes, including issues on promotion of some of our faculty, although some are pending. So the trustee team here presents the summary of the observations, and we propose recommendations also to our chapter executive for adoption. So the first one is the membership to the union. And we noted that because of the attrition rates as a result of either resignations, quite a number of our members have resigned and left for greener pastures, especially in the Faculty of Health Sciences. We have also lost a number of members to illnesses and other natural causes. And of course, quite a number of our staff or colleagues have retired. So we have had a significant reduction in the number of staff. And also this has a bearing on the workload to members. Because as we know, the university hasn't been replacing staff as in the same rates as those who leave service. So the union executive should closely monitor the membership changes and double their efforts in lobbying for replacement of those who have left service for various reasons. Then when it comes to communication to members, last year the executive had created a website to improve communication to members. We also note that very few members visit the site, and I think education to members, education sessions may help to improve communication and so that members are up to date on the issues that affect them. So continuous member education is key. I know most of us have been communicating using the WhatsApp forum, but then it is not adequate because sometimes the matters raised are not exhaustively discussed. Then we still have the unpaid CBA arrears for the 2017-2021. Although this is a national issue, but we noted that during the joint audit that was carried out, it was communicated that members are owed about 311 million by the university. But now it is more than 1 year down the line and these arrears have not been settled. So although it is a national office matter, we recognize the fact that our chapter is a key and significant member, and as a partner, it has, the proper space to push for this agenda and ensure that the CBA arrears are paid up to members. And this goes to the CS that the NEC should be able to prioritize this matter. And probably maybe some innovative approaches may be required. We understand that the new government operates differently, and probably the old tricks that the union has been adopting may no longer work. Hence, probably we need new innovative approaches to persuade government to be able to release the funds that are due to members. When it comes to the internal CBA, 2017-2021, the CS has communicated about it, but although there are promises, they remain promises because up to today or to date, no sitting has happened. Those promises that, the committees are in place, but then the committees have not started work. So we might not know when this would be completed. So it is still apparent that the executive must work hard to ensure that management commits to this task and puts in the necessary resources required to complete the process. We know that university may not be keen to give an offer immediately because that will result in completion of the process, and that requires financial resources. But that requires sustenance of the push from our executive. Then when it comes to staff promotions, we acknowledge the promotions that have been reported that happened during the year. However, we still have a number of staff whose promotions are pending. And then what we have learned is many of us have been promoted several years down the line, and that has a bearing on our benefits, especially on retirement. So we call upon, the union to continue ensuring that members are promoted in time, and that with the new strategy to try and have tools that do not necessarily require the presence of counsel or the human interface in the process, maybe that will go a long way in solving these delays, but we still continue to watch members, to agitate for their interests when it comes to promotions. The union should also lobby and ensure that management, whenever interviews happen, the letters are released and dated, the date of the interview. As it is today, if you are interviewed and 3 months down the line you do not receive your letter, your promotion will take effect the day you receive the letter. And I think that is unfair to the faculty member. Then the delays in reimbursement of medical refunds is a problem. We note that outpatient services have improved significantly, but the delays in reimbursement of medical refunds or money spent on medical care outside the UHS, this requires continuous follow-up. However, we do not have guidelines. It's not clear. Although the process has been centralized, but it's not quite clear if you deposit your request for refund, how long should it take? And so that for purposes of tracking, I believe this should be made clear to members so that everybody knows how long should you wait, and that will also ensure commitment from management. We have unpaid DSPs to date, direct service providers funds. And when it comes to this, we note that there were promises to have this settled every month with 50 million allocation by management, but it did not happen because there were several months when there were no payments done. For example, months of between May and September when university was on recess. So the promise of 50 million a month was not honored. And I think this affected most of the unpaid DSP claims, and especially the Faculty of Health Sciences, where over 70% of the DSP arrears belong. And that faculty is feeling left behind, or rather some bias in the payments of DSPs. And executive have tried as much to help, but there's still a lot more that needs to be done, because commitment to settle these arrears is a requirement that must be honored in time. We also note that money loses value with time, and the arrears that should have been paid several years ago will not have the same value today. When it comes to also the DSP direct service providers, there's a concern about the supervision fees for PhD and master students. For example, in the Faculty of Arts, where before a supervisor would be paid 90,000 shillings for supervision of a PhD student. The same has since been drastically reduced to about 18,000 shillings. So this is an area we need follow-up to ensure that our faculty are compensated for their efforts, and the guidelines that are existing when it comes to DSP payments and payment of supervision fees should be followed. If there are any changes, then they should be well documented and communicated in time. We noted that from the budget, we have an item where the union supports conference attendance regionally and internationally, and a number of members have benefited from this initiative. However, there are a few challenges about it, and we need clear guidelines. I believe there are members here who may not be aware that such an opportunity exists within. We need guidelines to be shared to members so that every member knows how much would I receive if I'm going for a regional conference within Africa. How much should I get, and how many times can I be facilitated? I know there are few members who are very active and they've made use of this facility more often than not. Then the replacement of the faculty rep for Abakabete campus, I think that is a concern from that faculty, and that is being taken care of, and we have seen that there's an allocation of resources to ensure that we have a representative from that faculty early in the new year. When it comes to university pension scheme remittances, this is where all of us should be concerned. The portfolio of our pension scheme is about 20 billion plus, but then the university management holds it, about 45%, that has not been remitted to the pension scheme, meaning that they have little money to invest. And what it means is, in the long term, they might not be able to honor the payments to the retirees, and we are all heading there in time. So we know the union has the power, the push on behalf of members to pester management and ensure that some resources are allocated to ensure that the pension scheme functions as it should in the interest of the members. I am happy that the CS talked about the closeness and working relationship with the council, and I think it's an opportunity they must maximize and ensure that the arrears to the pension scheme is paid. We noted the strength of the union when indeed, when we realized that the scheme is making losses. The union came out strongly and stopped, the AGM and discussions that were going on, took the trustees back to the drawing board to try and reorganize themselves so that they would effectively communicate to members and set the agenda straight on what is going to happen. And I believe if the union uses the same approach and pushes management, we are going to all gain as members and ensure that our scheme remains viable. And when we retire, we would have resources, for our own welfare. The last one is refurbishment of our members' club and common rooms. I think that has been mentioned. And it's also worth noting that there are several faculties without such facilities. Faculty of Health Sciences, Kikuyu campus, Faculty of Law, and many others. So as we refurbish the existing ones, we also remember that these facilities should also reach out, or we should have the same extended to those faculties or areas where we do not have existing facilities. I think the CS has talked at length about the court cases and the status of these cases and the relevance to us members, you know, when it comes to the council, the constitution, and so forth. And in the year also, we noted that there was, you know, this need for high level of transparency when it comes to the union matters. Members should have reports. We should have reports with yourselves, and even copies of what we have today, so that next year you can have your copy and compare what we discussed today with what we'll be discussing in the new year. So I think this is a requirement that we should all, as members, ensure that we get updates and we have reference documents so that we can take, as the union leadership, to account. You know, with the promise we make today, if it's not documented and you don't have anything to refer to, you might forget in due course. So members should not tire demanding the services and even the audience of the union leadership. And so including the finances, you know, getting to know how much finances do we have, how were the finances utilized. I think that is a question that everybody has a right to get an explanation. So in summary, in conclusion, although there are progresses that have been made by the union and the executive in addressing members' concerns, there are still equally a number of issues that needs more attention. So one key one is the non-remittance of pension contributions to UNIPEN, the bending promotions, which are dear to a number of our members, then the DSP payments, which have seemingly tends to be loaded on one faculty that has not received these payments. So there must be also adequate resources towards settlement of the same. And then the internal CBA and then as well as the national CBA arrears. The CBAs have a direct bearing on our own benefits, especially our pension amounts that we get to have at the end of our working life in the university. So with those few remarks, thank you so much for your attention. Asanteni sana. So because I may not get another moment, I wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Asante.